سبحان فالق الإصباح.
Ding dong. Hello?
Yes, that's right, infidels. You found us here, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, where you get the most real talk, the best reviews of all your favorite wrestling shows from AEW and WWE, Impact, and more, because we're going to break it all down with the best staff in professional wrestling at HMG. So you don't need to go anywhere else, because there's no 5 stars here. There's only $5 face slaps, infidel. So sign up today, channelattitude.com, Hameen Media Group, and join the Hameen Army for the most real talk in professional wrestling. YOLO!
Warning. The following video clip contains strong language and has therefore been rated 18+ by the YouTube NECCA. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's Friday! You know what that means! A new era of professional wrestling starts right now with AEW Rampage!
Welcome to Story Time with Adam Cole, that guy.
He'll take a chance! Pull the
Hello everyone and welcome to the HMG Rampage Uncaged AM edition. I'm your host Jimmy T, and my co-host, well, it's 2 out of the 4 pillars. It's Dr. Jeff Lippman. Welcome back to Rampage Uncaged, and it's WrestleMania day as a matter of fact. I mean, there's a lot of wrestling, put it that way. And are you looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's only appropriate that there's only 2 of the 4 pillars here, because there are only 3 of the 4 pillars on Rampage, so they were one down, so we're one down. Yeah, I am looking forward to it, but it's a little bit overwhelming. There was Supercard of Honor last night, there was SmackDown, there was the Hall of Fame, there was Rampage, there's, did I say Stand and Deliver today? And then there's 2 nights of WrestleMania, so it's a lot, but listen, it's nice to have my entire weekend planned out for me, and nobody else will say, why don't you go out? And now I've got this week, I have an answer.
Well, why should we go out when there's all this wrestling? Do you think actually there's too much wrestling over WrestleMania weekend? It's not WWE's fault. It's just everybody piggybacking off them. But do you think it's just an overload of wrestling?
Well, I think there is, but, listen, I think it was pretty, on one hand, it's savvy. On the other hand, it's lame of Tony Khan to put Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor on the Friday night against SmackDown, the Hall of Fame, and against his own show, Rampage. But he was hoping to get people to buy tickets to see Supercard of Honor. I mean, he's hoping to actually, make some money on the crowd or whatever it is. Now, I saw him tweeting about tickets still available, basically, up to a couple hours before showtime. So, I mean, we'll probably, never hear about the attendance or anything like that. It'll be, it won't be reported by his friendly media. But, yeah, I'd say that show didn't need to be on this week. He could have waited a week for that. As far as all of the dozens of indie shows in there, I don't follow them for the most part. Like, but I know that Impact is doing their multiverse thing with New Japan with an ever-changing and ever-weakening card. I know GCW does its collective, and I think they do 2 or 3 shows, maybe more. So, yeah, I guess. But if you're in Los Angeles and you're a wrestling fan, I mean, you're going to be driving a lot because there's no public transportation, and it sucks to get anywhere around there, which is why I never bought into the show 24, because they were in LA and he never hit traffic once. Come on. Yeah, probably, but it's WrestleMania weekend. It's supposed to be a cornucopia festival of too much, of overflow, of opulence. So whatever, let everyone have their fun. I mean, we're going to cover what's important for the mainstream. I'm sure there's plenty of shows. By that I mean 2% that'll cover all the other
Oh, I'm sure, but still, it is what it is. But I just want to say, can we call Supercard of Honor Supercard of Honor after seeing poor old Dante Martin break a leg after that ridiculous spot on Supercard of Honor? It was just ridiculous.
I didn't watch the spot. I saw the injury, but I mean, Dante Martin does the same kind of crazy stuff everywhere, and him and his brother are always trading injuries, and they're brittle as can be. And so, I mean, if you're going to do a crazy spot, I guess it's supposed to be on a pay-per-view, even for the minor league of your minor league. But I don't know. I mean, listen, this kid's always injured anyway. He's probably always going to be injured. Not everyone gets to have a long career in wrestling. Especially if you're a twig and your entire arsenal is high flying antics. I mean, not everyone's body is built to do that. So there's a reason why cheerleaders have thick bodies. Especially if you ever see the male cheerleaders, they're thick boys. That's what's required for it. But today's wrestling fans don't believe that, and today's wrestlers apparently don't believe that either.
Oh, well, 100%. And if anyone hasn't seen it, it was a stupid Canadian destroyer from the ring onto tables. That's how he breaks his leg. It was ridiculous. It is what it is. That is Supercard of Honor, ladies and gents.
Well, it's a good thing that they weren't booked to win that match. It's a good thing that I was right, that I rightly predicted that the least Ring of Honor team in that match was Lucha Brothers, who have never been mentioned on Ring of Honor, never appeared on Ring of Honor TV, at least in the first 3 episodes, and never before in the past. In the 8 or 9 years that I've been watching Ring of Honor weekly, and in the longer that I've been watching sporadically, I never remember ever seeing Phoenix or Penta ever in Ring of Honor. So of course they were going to win because Ring of Honor is where AEW, air quote, stars that have nothing planned for them go to pretend that they're doing something important.
Oh boy, and we've got a few comments already in the chat. Thank you everyone for tuning in, by the way. It's already rocking even before we started. But Chris Whelan says, cheers fellas, sorry you had to sit through this shit fest. Listening to the recaps here on the PWC is enough for my AEW intake. Did you see the Ring of Honor match where Dante Martin broke his legs? Well, yeah. Well, I just saw that spot. Haven't seen the whole event yet, but we just spoke about it, obviously. And he also continues to say, what a moron. Why do these monkeys do these big spots without any real storyline behind the reasoning?
The monkeys? Hey, we're the monkeys. People say we're monkey around.
Anyway, he goes on to say, how long before we see someone kill themselves on AEW television? I mean,
it's been 3.5 years, and 4 years if you count the pay-per-views. I'm surprised that we haven't seen it already. Listen, I mean, between Sammy Guevara and what he did to Matt Hardy, between Jeff Hardy being drunk and wrestling, every Darby Allin's natural way, the Martins, among others, I'm sort of surprised we haven't seen. I mean, just be happy we haven't. I mean, I mean, it's sort of inevitable. It's like watching a NASCAR and not expecting there to be a giant car crash. There will be eventually.
No, I agree. The way they're going, 100% we're going to see it eventually on television. Piers Austin says, want to see my wiener. Not really, Piers, but
this is Tommy Media Group. This isn't the PWC. You're getting confused. Same people, different network.
The professor says, y'all dudes ain't going to sleep this weekend. Lol, professor speaks.
And even normies, not wrestling fans.
And even Homeboy says, what's up, motherfuckers?
What's up, Edible?
Jesus Christ. And there's more, but we'll get back to them sooner than later.
Listen,
but anyway,
I'm more into the mythology. I'm more into like sleeping with my twin sister.
Well, anyway, let's not go there, Jeff. But let's
every mythology.
Hey, you guys did is the Atlanta show out, I believe, right?
It is. I posted it this morning.
I can't wait to actually listen to it. Anyway, we kick off Rampage with Takeshita, sorry, versus Sammy Guevara. This was a good match, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised Takeshita actually got the loss here. I mean, he needs a win here and there, dude. Well, not really. I'm not really surprised, but I just feel like the kid needs a win somehow.
I agree. He needs a win, and he gets them in unimportant places, like on Ring of Honor. But he couldn't win because the whole story is the three of the four pillars watching each other and challenging each other, which will probably end up being a fatal four-way, at the next pay-per-view. What is it, Double or Nothing that's coming, or is it All Out?
Yes, no, Double or Nothing.
Okay, so it's Double or Nothing. So that'll probably be the match where it'll be the four pillars fatal four-way. Or they'll have some tournament between themselves where they'll each have, I don't know, best of 5 to whatever the math works out to see who wins, whatever it'll be. So he can't lose. So if you want Takeshita to look good, well, there's an easy thing. Don't book him to be in this match. But, Takeshita, while he's not technically on excursion, he never was on New Japan, so maybe this is his first year here. But, yeah, I don't get. And it's so weird. They're still talking about him like he's a giant. They're like, yeah, he's like 6'2", 6'3". I mean, that's taller than me, but in wrestling, big deal. Like, the commentary needs to stop trying to tell us that he's so gigantic when you got Mark Henry in the back, who's probably 6'4", 6'5", even after all his surgery. And you got the Big Show, who's 7 feet tall, for God's sake. I mean,
well, I think they mean more so, and I'm hoping that this is what they mean, because he's a Japanese guy, and it's pretty rare to have a Japanese guy that tall. Let's be honest.
They don't mean that. They just talked about how big he is, and he's not.
I'm trying to give the benefit of the doubt here, but whatever. Yeah, cool.
He's not a small person, but they talk about him like he's Lance Archer or something, and
no,
he just isn't. But it's just weird. He's like pretty much exactly the same size of Moxley, in better shape. And Moxley's a big guy too, don't get me wrong, but you don't talk about him like he's fucking Brody Lee or Brody King. I mean,
hell no.
They talk about like he's a giant, and it's just the weirdest goddamn thing. And they have people on Twitter going, he's not small. I'm like, I'm not saying he's not small, but don't talk about him like he's the Great Khali. And then one guy's like, show me when they compared him to the Great Khali. I'm like, they never compared him to the Great Khali. I'm just using it as an example of someone who actually is a giant.
Fair point. I mean, I can't argue that point. You're right. I mean,
but
shit.
Yeah, anyway, the match itself wasn't bad. It was actually pretty good. Actually, let me say that for the last 2 episodes of Rampage did feel like it was the undercard part of Dynamite, but that's a big improvement to where it was. Like it felt like it sort of mattered in the grand scheme of AEW storytelling, where for a while it just felt like it was more like an extension of Dark. It just felt like it was random matches that had nothing to do with nothing. So at least the last couple of weeks, where we both enjoyed it more the last couple of weeks, and I don't think it's a coincidence that it's tied into other stuff, and the matches, not that it's hard to figure out who's going to win, but they feel a little bit more meaningful. They feel like they tie into something.
No, absolutely. And Tay Mella was also back, who helped Sammy Guevara with the win over Takeshita while she was holding the foot. And then, he done the GTH. And I'm talking about Guevara with the GTH and then 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it was sort of an anticlimactic end to I mean, that's the problem with the matches. They hit each other with basically nuclear bombs. And then, one minor distraction, and he walks basically into a fireman's carry. I mean, it would have been one thing of like Sammy kicked them in the back of the head while he was doing that and then did it, but nope, just there it is. You just sort of picked them up. It was just like Brock picking up Kofi, just puts him right into an F5. No problem.
Well, we also saw Darby Allin and Jungle Boy in the back watching the match per se, and also listening to basically Sammy Guevara, motioning for a title match against JBL. This almost feels like MJF, sorry. Jesus Christ, why did I say JBL? Anyway, I mean MJF, and is it just me, or does this feel like America's Got Talent? Like, seriously. Like, it feels like everyone's parading, to see who's going to be... for MJF to pick who his opponent's going to be. That's what it feels like, and it's pretty cheesy, bro.
I just remember when they started this whole promotion, they said, you're not going to see people watching TV in the back sideways. Well, yes, we are. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, but it's stupid, right? I mean, it's like... that's what it felt like to me. America's Got Talent, but does AEW have talent?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Would have to be in the back scouting each other. It's like they haven't been working together for 4 years, and some of these guys, as AEW will acknowledge all the time, for years and years and years on the indies.
Pierce also says AEW fans are a special kind of stupid. That's true, and he also says JBL, MJF, same but different. Well, I don't know why I said JBL.
In no possible way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's funny. I know, but still, I can't believe I actually said JBL.
Wrestler characters,
something like that. Media M5 says pillows, Jeff, pillows.
Pillows, right? Well, we're the pillows,
right?
They have pillars.
Oh, anyway, we'll see what happens there. I still believe
I have my
that
vernacular correct.
You're funny. But anyway, we get a new episode of QTV actually, Jeff, too.
I know, it wasn't canceled.
No, and I was worried because we didn't see anything on Dynamite. I think I did say, I did say that we probably will get it on Rampage instead of Dynamite.
It was just preempted. It was preempted to Rampage.
Wow. Well, whatever. I'm cool with that. But I'm actually more than cool with that. I'd rather it on Rampage.
I mean, whatever it is, it should be on the same show every week. Frankly, I think it should be on Dynamite because the way it hasn't really been good, but if somebody actually made it good, it should be on Dynamite. But I mean, the problem with it being on Rampage all the time is that that's where you think they're going to be defending Hobbs's title all the time, which is, I mean, the TNT title should be on Dynamite at least some of the time. I mean,
but it is TNT. Rampage is on TNT.
I know, but that's the stupidity of them naming titles after networks. I mean,
or switch them over at least. Turn the TBS Championship into a men's title or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that they should not name titles after networks. Networks can change names. Networks can let you down. Networks can change the network you're on, so that Dynamite's no longer on TNT, it's on TBS. I mean, the networks might not renew you. I mean,
that's the main thing, right? That's pretty dumb. They should have just called it the Television Championship, and that's it.
Right. It's the whole thing was dumb. I mean, no other promotion does it. It's dumb. And at least TNT, has another meaning that's got, it basically means Dynamite.
Okay. Right.
But TBS has no other meaning.
No, you're right. I mean, it is what it is. Pierce says, Malaka, you've been into my special oregano. Well.
Oregano.
That's how Americans say it. Australians say oregano, just quietly.
Well, you say it wrong.
Well, anyway, they need to retire some of these belts. You think, Pierce? And he goes on to say, make belts mean something. AEW, I'd like. Oprah, you get a belt. You get a belt. I've played that meme over and over here on channelattitude.com about once there's a new belt, I'll play that Oprah video and you get a belt and you get a belt.
He has indeed. Just you wait, Piers. Now that AEW and AAA are friends again, how many AAA titles you're going to see on there, and all the New Japan titles you're going to see. And remember when Sheeta was coming over with some title she won in Japan, like the
what was that
Pure
called again?
Title or the
Rose something championship,
right? So it was a this black belt, and then you'd have the people with DDT titles coming over and stuff. I mean, you're going to have so many titles, you're going to think that no wrestler is allowed to not have a belt.
It feels like a friggin' toy. The toys, the wrestling toys, right? And they've got all their belts.
They all come with a belt.
They all come with a belt.
Listen, I'm thinking of buying one of those tailored belts where it says PWC Garden of Doom Championship.
This is a great comment. Hi, I'm Tony. I like Coke and wrestling. Yeah, well.
And Adderall and Coke.
And Adderall, true.
And Coke.
Maybe meth too.
And Coke. He doesn't need meth. He can afford the good stuff.
Oh,
well. I mean, listen, if we're going to pick on his drug use, let's at least give him the respect that he's buying expensive drugs.
We're assuming. We only assume. It's all speculation.
Yeah, no, this is all hypothetical.
Chris Whelan says, "Where in the hell is?"
Why do you ask every week?
Well, he said he's going to ask every week until he is found. Maybe that is what Hobbs was looking for when he was snooping around the hood. But why would he be in Oakland?
Listen,
that's the thing.
We are not private detectives. If you want to hire us to be private detectives, we will look into where Miro is. But until then, we have no further insight than what anyone else has than we did last week or the week before on Miro's whereabouts.
Talk to Big Ray Hernandez because he used to be a former private investigator. True story. So maybe he knows where he is. Ray, help us out.
Listen, it's inflation. Maybe you can retain him, and maybe you can actually get somewhere.
Todd Brantley says, "Hey, yo, what's going on? What's up, Todd?"
Hey, yo.
And White Claw.
Take a poll.
He says, "Happy Mania weekend," and fuck Rick Steiner. Yeah, apparently he's anti-trans or something. That's what I was reading.
Listen, anyone who's surprised by that has to be Rick Steiner, Scott Steiner. Half of the wrestlers are basically Michigan militiamen.
Michigan militiamen.
Mm-hmm.
Say that 5 times real fast.
Like insurrection storm the Capitol types.
Oh, God. Anyway, I don't know how Pierce Austin says, but I don't want to fuck Rick Steiner.
No.
No. Neither do
what
we.
About Giselle Shaw, who, by the way, I don't know who. If you put Giselle Shaw into a police lineup, I wouldn't know who she was. I know that she is a wrestler. I did not know until today that she was trans. I don't know that I've ever seen a picture. I have no idea.
Oh, Miro's on Twitch apparently with his hot wife collecting checks.
Apparently, he's been doing that for years. Right, exactly that. And apparently he was in a CBS cop pilot, but the show didn't get picked up, or maybe he just had a part-time role. I don't know.
But Todd says something interesting, and watch the internet go wild when he does lose the championship today on Stand and Deliver. He says hopefully it doesn't hurt Bron's push on the main roster. Well, if Bron is pretty much scheduled to lose his championship, right? And if he does, right, watch the internet go crazy and blame what Rick Steiner said for him losing the championship.
Listen, I'll make a prediction right now, which I've made many times before. Bron's losing that title today to Carmelo Hayes, and Bron will be on the main roster, which is not a loss. It's a promotion. Everyone knows, anyone who's followed these shows knows what I actually think about Bron. But no, WWE is not going to punish Bron for what his father says. If Bron himself said it, they might do it. But, listen, they hired back the other Braun who said similar.
Yes.
They've,
even though he's questionable about what he does, let's be honest.
Listen, also, like what people say and what they think and how they are all the time aren't always the same thing. There's a lot of us that are jerks in lots of different circumstances, but we can be very personal at other times. It's like people are weird, and I'm not trying to defend Rick Steiner at all. I don't know Rick Steiner, but we're not all just one thing, and we're not all just our a bad tweet, and we're also taking what Giselle Shaw said as factual.
Right, exactly. We're jumping the gun.
No one's verified it. No one's contradicted it either. But this is a story that she's telling, and everyone's just assuming it's 100% true. I don't know that it is. I don't know that Rick Steiner said. I think maybe Rick Steiner was sitting with a bunch of 4 or 5 people and someone else said it, and just didn't feel like it was his place to tell the person to pipe down. I don't know if any of this even happened. So I think maybe we should, maybe we should all reserve judgment on some things until we see a larger body of evidence for ourselves. Rick Steiner has been in the semi-public eye for a long time. I remember seeing him on UWF television when I was in college, which was in the late 80s. So that's
no shit.
What's that? 36 years or so?
Something like that. Shit, I'm 40 years old, so I would have been a real young little tacker back then. That's for sure.
Bro, won't believe who just recorded with. Is it Giselle Shaw or Rick Steiner?
Who is it, man? Because no shit though. Lately, he shows he's been getting some big guns, and he's been getting a lot of play in terms of post wrestling. Even reported on his interview with Bad Luck Fale, which was actually pretty eye opening with the amount of stuff he got on. And if you want to check that out, go check out Shooting the Shit with Pierce Austin, because that is a show that you need to check out, no doubt about it. And who did you interview, man? Damn it, you're getting all the big guns these days, Pierce.
All right,
so
well,
yeah,
let's
tell
move
us.
on, because we have less than an hour to finish the show. So.
Well, he also says, Jeff, how dare you be logical? We say that all the time.
I listen, it probably won't happen again.
Todd says he was already set to lose to title to get called up to the main roster. The uneducated Marks will blame it on his father. That's true.
Listen, only in wrestling do you think that losing a title but going to the main roster is punishment.
And Miro's balls deep in money, for sure. No doubt about it. He's collecting a paycheck. No doubt about it.
Deep in money, too.
Well, let's go to the next matchup, actually. It is the Kings of the Black Throne versus Best Friends. And why did it end like this?
So
Can I just say,
are they
really
heels again?
I have no fucking clue, dude.
Okay.
It's just like, what do you call it? The Blackpool Combat Club, which I will say made me fucking laugh. Did you hear their song this past Wednesday?
Yeah, it was the British song.
What? Are they off their faces or what? Why would they go with that? Whose idea was that? Considering we don't even have Regal part of the team. And not one British guy.
But listen, nobody boos Daniel Bryan's Bryan Danielson's music. No one boos his Wild Thing or what's his name, Moxley's old song. Nobody boos it. So at least there's something here that some British fancy pantsy song. So
it made me laugh though, man. Like that shit, it's just funny. I mean, come on.
I mean, at least they're having group music instead of their individual tunes. But listen, I've been saying the Blackpool Combat Club are heels for weeks now, and then it's just official. But they've been low key heels. I mean, sort of almost the whole time. It's just who they were fighting, but they were always sort of heels adjacent. So, but yeah, they've been formal heels for 6 or 7 weeks. Just nobody wanted to believe it. We even commented on the Ring of Honor show where Cesaro was wrestling as a face in the opening match, then acted like a heel towards the end of the match, and then acted like a heel when Wheeler Yuta fully was acting like a heel. So it's always been confusing, but I don't know. Yeah, so why did it end like this? I mean, we got a rare DQ, so cool. Listen,
but best friends, bro.
Things, but good. There should be more DQs in AEW. There's plenty of DQ-worthy things.
But best friends against the Kings of the Black Throne.
Obviously, we're going to get the Best Friends versus the House of Black for the Trios Championships. Either because of the injury to Orange Cassidy that was actually pretty clever how Buddy Murphy used his belt as a shield, and Orange Cassidy like Orange Crush punched the belt, and it looks like he broke his hand or whatever they're pretending he did. They'll probably string this out until also Double or Nothing. And Best Friends have never had a title, and I've always sort of felt that the Trios title were made partly for them. They just have to have Orange Cassidy drop the international title, either using this injury as an excuse, or maybe they'll have to strip it because he can't wrestle within 30 days or something.
Todd said a funny comment. You got to start somewhere on the road to DQs.
I think it's only the second DQ.
Well, whatever it is, you got to start somewhere. He also said, I like Moxie's first thing more than Wild Thing, to be honest. So do I.
Me too.
I'm not going to lie.
Wild Thing, Wild Thing is like Tarzana, Baltimore's Jungle Boy, Tarzan Boy song.
Tarzan Boy.
I like it 3 times and then that's enough.
And check this out, actually, Jeff. You'll like this. Apparently, Pierce just interviewed Nash Carter's ex. He got him fired from WWE when he was NXT Tag Champ. Is that out yet, Pierce? Because I want to check that out. And hit me up as soon as that's out, because that will be an eye opener.
Wow, why don't you just subscribe to his show so he doesn't have to hit you up?
Well, yeah, subscribe to it, exactly.
It comes in your download that way.
I am subscribed to it, as a matter of fact.
You do know how podcasts work, right?
Oh no! Well, if this was another show, I would have said, "Well, do you want your own podcast?" But we won't go there.
I would say that, and then you'd be educated.
Anyway, and yeah, Pierce, I knew he was MCW champion in Melbourne, dude. I actually know that. So,
right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the House of Black, they got disqualified, and they went on to beat up the Best Friends. Okay, one spot we have to talk about. The Best Friends doing their stupid got to give the people what they want, dumbass hug. Brody King, runs in. Both of the Best Friends are there looking at him, and basically Trent Beretta takes two steps back to let him beat up Chuck Taylor, and then Trent Beretta gets him out to do whatever it is that he does. I mean, it just stupid, just stupid planning, just so that they could get the stupid hug and the pan out.
We already saw it on Dynamite. We didn't have to see it again on fucking Rampage.
That same crowd saw it. Well,
exactly twice. They saw it fucking twice, Jeff, on the same night.
I mean, the half of them that remained to watch Rampage. I mean, that place was empty.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, it is what it is. But I don't like this finish. I just don't agree with it. Only because you'd think you'd want to make House of Black look strong, but whatever. It is what it is.
They look weak. It's just the problem is you have this dread that you're going to see these 6 people face off again. Meanwhile, you're still having Anna JAS talking about going after Julia Hart, but Anna JAS is a heel and Julia Hart was a face, but now she's a heel again. So that doesn't make any sense. I mean,
she's useless, dude. Julia Hart is just useless. Honestly, what's she do, man? She just sits there with a mopey face.
Well, I don't know, but that's it's fine. Every now and then she gets in the way and takes a spot the wrong way, or somebody hits her too hard because she's like 16 pounds. But I mean, I think the real thing is we thought House of Black, when they surprisingly retained and kept their titles, that they had finally advanced out of the minor league aspect of AEW. The problem is Tony Khan doesn't look at Best Friends as minor league. They're like probably some of his favorites, but I look at them as minor league, and the House of Black should be doing better. I mean,
I agree.
Yeah.
And Brody King with the face paint looks badass though. Yes, but he's over 6'2", Pierce, which means he ain't shit in AEW. He's a loser.
He won't be over 6'4". No, I mean, Brody King looks badass.
I'm talking about the.
He would look badass in Miss Kitty pajamas, in My Pretty Pony, pink, he'd still look badass because he's a badass looking dude. I mean, they're all badass.
But he's a loser, Jeff. He's a fucking loser, buddy, in AEW. It is what it is.
He's a champion. What are you talking about? And he's
a champion that still loses most of the times.
Listen, would you rather be a loser getting paid AEW money, or would you rather be the internet champion having 8, indie belts?
Well, you talk to Cardona about that. I'm sure he'll tell you the latter.
Well, his ask is different. But let's say you're not Cardona. Let's say you're more like Hammerstone or Effie, who would you rather be in Brody King's position or Effie's position?
Well, I'd definitely rather be in Brody King.
All right, forget the sexuality part, because I know you can't separate the two.
I didn't say nothing.
You don't have to say anything. You get this look on your face, and you get the look that every 4-year-old gets when they took a bite of a cookie that they're not supposed to.
Oh my God! You always think it's about penis, Jeff. You have
the veritable hand caught in the cookie jar, and you think you don't, just like 4-year-olds think they don't.
Anyway, go continue.
I'm done.
That's it. Well, Medium 5 brings up something interesting, Jeff. Have both Julia and Anna in our OnlyFans dildo on a strip pole match.
I'd only be interested in seeing one of them.
Well, yeah, that's true. And that's Anna J. I'm cool with Julia Hart, but she's just, I don't know, man. Anyway, let's move on.
No boobs, no Jeff. That's the rules. Everyone knows it.
Yeah, she's just plain, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, and she's young. We see Matt Hardy and Ethan Page are interviewed backstage as Matt presents Ethan a contract to sign for a match with Hook next week on Dynamite. Ethan then signs a contract while admitting that he knows nothing about what's going on. I'm sure that will work out well for him, Jeff.
I'm sure it's a solid plan. Maybe he should take some time off from shirt shopping. I mean, he doesn't button any of the buttons anyway, so I don't know what he cares what the shirt looks like.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this whole thing with the firm is... I mean, first of all, is the firm just down to these three guys? I mean, is that it? Well, you know...
I don't know, bro. I have no clue anymore.
I mean, obviously the Guns are not with the firm at all. Obviously,
weren't they though at
and
first?
Helico and the Butcher and the Blade are not with the firm at all, or Hardy Family Office or whatever that was. So, you know, Isaiah Cassidy is not. Mark Quinn is too injured to go on TV and even be in the background, apparently. So, like every now and then we see what's his name now, Big Bill and Lee Moriarty, but
Where's
not
Big
consistently.
Bill?
Yeah. And where's Stokely? Was he beat up so badly that he can't go on TV? He can't.
Possibly. Possibly.
I mean, they don't even mention it. But yeah, I'm. So.
Well, Chris
will we
Williams
be watching Stand and Deliver? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we will.
We will be. There will be more Uncaged than Rampage. For fuck's sake, man!
And here's our goal, Chris. Our goal is to do a Stand and Deliver review show immediately after Stand and Deliver ends.
We intend to deliver right after Standing.
Right, because with WrestleMania coming up just a couple hours later, there's not a whole lot of time to.
Well, it seems to fit with our schedules because right after this show we're doing Smack Attack, and then right after Smack Attack, Stand and Deliver starts, and then it goes on and on.
Right.
So anyway, let's move on. Also, before I get to the main event, I also want to point out that Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland cut promos, pre-taped, shall I say,
Yep.
To hype up their next fight, whenever that may be, Jeff.
Yeah, because Parker and Trench are both injured, and Keith Lee is back in his Mordecai, strange, cleric denomination robe. And Swerve is recruiting an army to get him. So I guess he's called Paul Jones, and he's going to get the Paul Jones Army, or maybe Skandar Akbar. What was it called? Demolition Incorporated or Devastation Incorporated?
Devastation Incorporated.
Right. He should outsource it, and you have all those guys coming. He should get them both. He should get the Paul Jones Army and Devastation Incorporated.
Oh boy.
God, I'm getting old. I can't remember these things. But yeah, I'm all for and the Dungeon of Doom. You should have like all three armies just attack Keith Lee at the same time. I would totally.
The Dungeon of Doom would pop me though. You need Kevin Sullivan though still in there.
Especially since half of them are dead. That would be amazing. You have like an apparition of
Hugh
John
Morris.
Tenta.
Oh God. Well, as the Shark.
Sure. Whatever. It's a ghost. He can be whatever he wants.
Oh boy! Imagine John Tenta as the Shark. Fuck me. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is.
Oh, that was the same guy? What are you talking about? I thought
it is the same guy.
I thought he was just
but I prefer him as
shark.
Earthquake.
It's like King Shark from Harley Quinn.
Was he a bull shark though? That's the $1 million question?
Oh, he was
what type
definitely
of shark was he?
Whale shark, I think.
Anyway, it was ridiculous with the friggin' paint on his. Anyway,
ridiculous. It was amazing.
Jesus. Anyway, we just moved to the main event. It is Taya Valkyrie defeating Marina Shafir. It was alright. It was still a squash match, nevertheless. And they're building up Taya Valkyrie for a loss here, right? I mean, so is she going to lose?
Are they? Maybe they're
I'm
hoping
she does win. Well, if that's the case, then I like the way they're booking her. But if they're building her up just to make her lose,
to have someone that never loses. Now, I don't think that she's going to win, but it would be an interesting move. And then you're out of that trap where someone that's undefeated, because at some point, I mean, you either do the Goldberg gets tased route, or you have to build somebody up, and who's that going to be?
I have no idea. I assume this is why they hired Taya Valkyrie in the first place, just to have a challenger to friggin' Jade Cargill, but they need more.
Yeah. I mean, all I can tell you is Mark Sterling is the worst lawyer ever, and they kept saying the process server's name was Tootie. I have a feeling that's Tootie Lynn, who I got into a Twitter feud with a couple years ago about Empower and her mother. So she's not really a process server. She is a St. Louis area indie wrestler. Who took that hold. But Mark Sterling says he has his nose broken, and both Layla Gray and Jade Cargill looked amazing. I still don't know why they're down to one baddie. I mean, leaving the baddies really helped Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet's career. Woo! They're just
where are they now?
I don't know, but they're shooting.
Exactly.
Maybe they're on SpaceX.
Maybe. Absolutely. Where's Elon when you need him? Todd says he would stand and deliver for Gigi Dolan. And Media M5 says get General Akbar to yell, it's a trap.
Different Akbar, but I could you could conflate Akbars.
Well, Chris also says, speaking of Goldberg, apparently there is interest in him from AEW, so he can be squashed by Jungle Boy. Most likely that would probably happen. It wouldn't surprise me, but he would need a lot more money.
Operating, so maybe. But I think that the posts of people saying Goldberg signed with AEW were April Fool's jokes.
Yeah, but it wouldn't. Well, they asked him apparently on the podcast this past week that he was on,
I heard what he said.
Right.
He said, "I'm watching Goldberg. He's very important to wrestling. He was a big star. So of course, whenever there's a free agent, I'm watching." I mean, he said nothing. So
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
listen, would anyone be surprised if they brought in Goldberg? Especially for one appearance, maybe in New York next week in Long Island. Sure.
Todd Bentley's comment. Oh boy, Todd, watch it. You're gonna get us in trouble, man. Jeez. I don't know if I should read that, but it's funny. I'll say that.
Well, I mean, Mordecai was in the light, and Keith Lee is bask in my glory.
I know.
So putting the two. I mean,
I love Mordecai, but you know,
I love the Mordecai character was not given a fair chance. The Mordecai character was awesome, and they should bring it back now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Todd also brings up an interesting point. The problem is, I think they're waiting for Chris Statlander to come back so she can take the title off Jade. I don't know if
it's Chris Statlander. Everyone makes her like she's better than she is. She went from being terrible to okay, and
she's still very green too. People forget she's only been in the business for 4 years tops, and two of those
blown out her
have
leg.
Been injured. Right.
I would not invest in Chris Statlander until she can give me a full year and a half injury free of being a workhorse. I would put her on maybe not a John Moxley schedule, but at least a Cesaro schedule, Wheeler Yuta schedule, where you've got to work a lot to get there. I mean, you can say what you want about people like Sammy Guevara or whatever, but he wrestles twice a week for them, sometimes twice a night. So, I would make her prove it. And I'm not waiting for anybody. If you have something that's hot and you want to do an angle, you do it now. Wrestling's about making money now. You can't wait for Krista. First of all, it's an if, not a when. And then it's an if she can stay healthy. I don't like two ifs. I don't like one if.
Sure, I agree.
You can always turn Taya heel. She's better as heel. Or you could turn Chris Statlander heel. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. That you can always change a belt. You can always have someone come in as an open challenge and be a surprise. It's they do 1,000 tournaments. They can do a women's brass ring thing. I mean, what's the difference?
Well, it's true. Did I mention also Anna Jay was interviewed backstage? She said she almost died from getting her ribs dislocated. Wow. She almost died.
I don't remember her getting her ribs dislocated, and I wasn't sure how you can die from getting... I mean, how do ribs get dislocated? I've heard of cracked ribs. I've heard of broken ribs. Dislocated?
I have no clue. That's what she said, not me.
Right. Ribs, I think joints get dislocated. I don't think that fixed bones do. But listen, not an orthopedist. So,
well, it's time for the main event, and it's rock hard Juice Robinson defeating, thank fucking God, in Action Andretti. This sounds like two porno guys going at it, dude. Juice Robinson
really does.
And Action Andretti.
Oh my God, you're
straight up
out on. You're 100% on that one.
So I guess they're cold. They're going cold now on Action Andretti. No more winning for this guy.
I don't know. All I know is that Rock Hard had is basically a glorified squash, while Action Andretti has been taking Jericho and everyone else, to the brink.
Right. So what's the point of all that then? Just for him to be a loser now?
Nothing. All it did was slow down Ricky Starks' momentum, and you notice how Ricky Starks is still in this crap and mired with Juice Robinson. And actually, I'm starting to die down on my own theory, which you guys didn't like very much. I don't think it's going to be Ricky Starks and the Elite versus Bullet Club at this point. I think Juice is just going to get beaten on Wednesday, and that's the end of that.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's all it will be. Yeah. Again, where does this put Ricky Starks, though, moving forward? I mean,
No
it goes
idea.
nowhere for him. It's just
no
stalling. It's all it is. It's stalling, just so they can figure out something to do with him, if they will do anything with him.
I mean, what they should do with him, if they had any balls, but they don't, is they would say, "I don't know who you three guys thinking you're pillars. Somebody said that you were a pillar 3.5 years ago, but since then, Darby, you're barely around, and you've been hanging out with your grandfather. Sammy, you started out as a sidekick with Jericho in the Inner Circle, and then you ended up being a sidekick with Jericho in the JAS, and in between you did nothing, and in between you got engaged and married 23 times." And Jungle Boy, everyone knows what you've been doing. All you do is lose friends. So I'm a pillar, Of course,
I agree, and I was going to say that. Right, I was actually going to mention that because he should be in that argument, if you want to call it that. Not that I agree with it myself, but it would make total sense if he just butted in and said, "Whoa, wait a minute." You know what I mean? You guys are forgetting fucking the big star, Ricky Starks, whatever you want to fucking say. Right. I'm just making up bullshit. I'm not saying
would
that's
anyone
what he
complain if either Sammy Guevara or Jungle Boy took the pin in that fatal 4-way, and then it was Ricky Starks inserted into a fatal 4-way with
great
with MJF, and no one should be beating MJF just yet, unless it's going to be someone that's going to get them attention, and that person was Brian, but they're in a different mix right now, so.
Well, is it possible, though, that we get MJF versus the other three pillars, right? Pillars. Mm-hmm. And so he beats them three on a Dynamite, say, before Double or Nothing. And then Ricky Starks steps in and says, "No, it's time to face the real pillar, and that's me around here." You know what I mean? Like,
is it possible? Sure. But, I mean, I've said it before. I think the more natural next challenge for MJF to establish him should be the best wrestler in the world and the best wrestler in the company, allegedly, and that should be Kenny Omega. And
I agree. People have been saying that online now too. People have actually started to talk about that.
Well, I mean, that's because, like as usual, they're 2 or 3 months behind me. But I mean, and Ricky Starks had his title shot and he lost. So you've got to make time for you have to build him up over that. And so so it's okay to have him in feuds with people like Juice Robinson, but you've got to have it in ever increasing, elevation of opponent, and Juice just isn't it. But that's okay for now. But you have to bring him up, but you have to be careful. You have to keep him away from these other sidetrack titles. So there's enough people in AEW do it. It's just there's not enough of them on TV. So, but they have to be careful, have them methodically, sort of beat people on the mid card enough time, and then maybe if it's people still think it's his time, then maybe. Whatever the fall pay-per-view is, or maybe next year's Revolution, that maybe that should be his time. I don't know, but I don't think Ricky Starks is a improvement over MJF. I wouldn't take the title.
Neither are hell no, absolutely not. But like Todd says. Before we go, though, he says, "I'll put Ricky Starks one step closer to him leaving for WWE." I strongly believe he will leave.
I've no interest in Ricky Starks in WWE.
Neither do I, though.
I want WWE to be the land of the giants or people who are extraordinary. Ricky Starks does neither.
Media M5 says, also, I don't want to hear Jeff say rock hard. God, no.
What do you mean, rock hard? Rock hard? Rock hard? Rock steady? Rock on? Rock hard?
But look what we got. La Sacadia saying, "Hello, Jimmy. Hello, Papacito." Jeff Lippman, "I am watching you still from South America, the heaven of the world."
It is the heaven of the world. And the beautiful thing is that my lovely fiancée still doesn't know how to spell my last name or her future last name.
That's right. There's a double N happening over there, Mr.
Yeah, there's
Jeff
double
Lippman.
N. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take Zuniga, so people have to call me Jay-Z.
Anyway, shout out to La Sacadia. Holla, holla, holla. Anyway.
Hola, hola, hola.
Oh, yeah. Holla, holla, holla. Exactly. Ricky Starks looks like the Rock fucked Beavis.
Yeah. And that is not Soraya Beavis. That is like Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. So yes. I agree. That is actually brilliant. Yes.
That's a good one, actually. Well, Jeff, This is a quick hour of Rampage Uncaged. We have a lot of shit to actually do right now. Tell them where they can find you though, man.
Hey, when you're not finding me here on the Hameen Media Group and Channel Attitude or the PWC, which you can find me often, you can catch me on my other shows are also on the PWC, and 2 out of 3 of them are on Hameen Media Group. But Hammerlock Hangover is a wrestling podcast I do with Big Daddy Cool Steve Pena, but frankly, it was once a week, then it was every 2 weeks. Now it's been 3 weeks.
What's going on, man?
I don't know. He can't do it on Thursdays, which is when we're supposed to do it, and so I don't know. But he still wants. I just told him to record a solo show, and then anyway, it doesn't matter. There's not likely to be a Hammerlock Hangover for a while, so at least not this week. So why am I talking about them? Garden Views and Garden of Doom, those are my babies, and those will never go away, especially Garden of Doom, which I've been dropping 2 a week now. And most recently I did with our very own Chris Ambs. We did a proper show on Atlantis, and the midweek show was Metatrek with Jeffrey from Metatrek, the YouTube channel, where he talked about the mythology applying to Star Trek and the different seasons and the different properties. Very interesting. His YouTube channel, he gets 7,000-8,000 people watching those shows, so pretty impressive stuff over there. And next week, Tartaria.
Oh, awesome. Can't wait. Well, if you want to follow me, you can on Twitter at DJ MassFX and also at the PWC Network. Please like and subscribe right here at channelattitude.com, where for $5 you get to see us and everybody else on Channel Attitude talk all things professional wrestling. Also, like and subscribe at the PWCnetwork.podbean.com, where you can find all our shows, and at HameenMediaGroup.podbean.com, where you can find all our affiliate shows, including Jeff's. And just quietly, if you guys didn't hear Where on Earth is Come San Diego, the remix by myself, which a lot of people have been praising me about, funny enough.
Why don't you play the outro now?
It will be. I was just going to say that. It's going to be the outro to this show. And thank you to everyone that's asked about the song. I can't believe it came out the way it did, but it did. But in saying that, I'm Jimmy T. That's Dr. Jeff Lippman. And you've been listening and watching the HMG Rampage Uncaged show right here on channelattitude.com, and we're out of here. Peace.
Stay evil, my friends.
Well, she sneaks around the world from India to Carolina. She's a sticky-fingered filcher from Berlin down to Belize. Take you for a ride on a slow boat to China. Tell me, where in the world is
Carmen San Diego?
Steal their soul in South Korea. Maybe nothing comes right on the Red Sea to Greenland. They'll be singing the blues. Well, they never Arkansas her steel. We come from the jungle. Tell me,
Where in the world is
Carmen San Diego?
We go from Nashville to Norway, out to Zimbabwe, Chicago to Czechoslovakia. That's back.
Well, she'll ransack Pakistan and run a scam in Scandinavia. Then she'll stick 'em up down under and go big pockets further. She was the missing misdemeanor when she stole the beans from Lima. Tell me, where in the world is
Carmen San Diego?
tell me where in the world? Tell me where can she be?
Botswana to Thailand, Finlandia, and to Mali to Bali, Ohio,
She flies around the globe and she'll Lippman every nation. She's a double-dealing diva with a taste for thievery. Her itinerary's loaded up with moving violations. Tell me, where in the world is
Carmen San Diego?
tell me, where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Tell me, where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Where could she be? Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? Where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
San Diego? Where in the world is Carmen 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 San Diego?